saw 2,450.
The Wolverines coming out on DVD and Blu-ray soon, having smashed it at the box office, so we hit the mean streets of Tokyo to catch up with model-turned-actress Rila Fukushima, who plays all-round badass and martial arts expert Yukio. So how was putting down the stilettos and picking up the samurai sword?
And my stand-up woman money maker, she helped me a lot, and then she trying to push me like, you can do it, you should do it, you can do it, if you believe you can do it, like, it was nice.
So do you feel like you can kick butt now?
With the 12
well, yeah, if you need bodyguard, let me know.
We see your action face. Because if you're going to be an action face,
no! I don't know what is the action face.
Something like this.
But I'm look really tough enough.
They won the return
like in real world, I'm more like hobby person.
You do martial arts.
But the tie of the round was in Sri Lanka, who were playing.
Alright, so you won't fight in interviews, that's reasonable, or break the camera and get kicked out of the hotel. But how about karaoke?
Tokyo, like a lot of things open until very late, so you can get to see a lot of stuff.
TV was banned.
Really?
Karaoke last
So you
night.
did? I should count.
Captained by Karma
I don't think you'd have enjoyed it this time.
Won 1-0 at the Super
You
Stadium.
guys, I sing everything. Western song, Japanese song.
The return game
So is
took
music
place at the
something you might
Changlimatan
consider?
Stadium in
If someone asked me to
At
sing in a
almost
film,
9,000
I will
feet,
do
it is
that.
the second
But if I asked you to
highest
sing
capital
now?
city in the world. The government gave
I'm
the
a
whole
karaoke
country
master,
half-day,
not the
and
true
stadium
singer
was
like
packed
you.
with traditional dance. The players went and threw
Yeah,
dice
that's
with
right,
British
I'm a
monks before
master.
the game.
The Wolverines
It brought
out
them
on
luck.
November
They
18th
won their
on
second
DVD
game
and Blu-ray
2-1,
in the UK.
qualified for the next round. Their joy was short-lived though. They lost all 8 games, scoring 5 but conceding 52, including a 15-0 defeat to Qatar, leaving them with a goal difference of -47. Others had harder journeys. With their country's infrastructure destroyed by war and the airport off limits, the Yemen national team had to be smuggled out of the country, taking a 13-hour ferry from Aden to Djibouti before flying to neutral Qatar. They beat Pakistan 3-1, but the travel would prove too much and they would finish bottom of their group. Big spending China qualified for the final round by the skin of their teeth following an incredible final day. 4 out of 8 second-place teams would qualify, making the calculus almost impossible. Jordan had brought in Harry Redknapp to take the Middle Eastern team over the line, but after hammering Bangladesh 8-0, Australia destroyed Redknapp's Jordan 5-1, and they were out. The mysterious 2010 finalists North Korea had the easiest path and were on course to make the final round, beating the Philippines 2-1 with 5 minutes to go. But somehow they conceded twice late on. Australian-born Ian Ramsey ending North Korea's hopes. That left China, who needed all those results and a 2-0 victory. Their premier, Xi Jinping, had made a huge political and economic bet on football, encouraging investment in the Chinese Super League and abroad, with businessmen hoovering up clubs like Inter Milan and AC Milan, West Brom and Wolves. They brought back Zhao Hongbo as coach, and in a packed stadium in Xuan, Wu Lei made it 2-0 late on and China were through. But this wasn't to be their year. China and Zhao Hongbo struggled. A 1-0 defeat to Syria saw protests demanding his sacking after the game in Xuan, and he was fired. China will have to wait until Qatar 2022 to continue Xi's footballing revolution. The big hitters all qualified: Iran, Saudi Arabia, Japan and South Korea, but the story of the round, and indeed possibly of the World Cup, was Syria. The country had been mired in a vicious civil war that had seen half of the population displaced, sparking the biggest movement of refugees in Europe since World War II. Many of the players, including their best in Firas Al-Khattab and Omar Al-Samar, refused to play for a team that was pro-Assad's regime, and it didn't help that at a press conference before one qualification match, the coach and some players wore Assad pictures on their shirts. With Damascus too dangerous, Syria would play its home games firstly in Oman and then in Malaysia, and they kept winning, scoring late, last-minute goals. It was a complex Cinderella story, and Khatib and Somar returned to the team, saying they were doing so for the people. Syria finished third in their group and met Australia in the last Asian playoff. Amsam again came close. Alas, transgender centre-back Jaya Salur, part of Samoa's Fafafina, a third sex in Polynesian culture, was dropped from the squad. The 4 worst teams were the same as before: Samoa, American Samoa, Cook Islands and Tonga. American Samoa was coached by Larry Mana'o, the understudy to previous coach Thomas Rongan. Again, it came down to the final game. American Samoa had to beat the Cook Islands by a goal more than Samoa beat Tonga. They fell just 2 goals.